Hey there, Alex here. Since the last Reno phone I used was the Reno2, the new Reno4 Pro almost feels like it's from a completely different series of phones. There is no more pop-up camera, no more clean and unique design, and no more premium metal and glass build. Instead, it has a more generic looking design, a plastic frame, and plastic back panel. It's still pretty decent looking with the matte finish and curved screen design, but it just doesn't feel as premium anymore. The phone feels pretty light for its size, the matte finish is a little rough, and there is a bit of flex in the back panel, but maybe some folks will like this lighter and softer feel in hand. The display is one of the highlights of the phone, with nice colors, good outdoor visibility, and a 90Hz refresh rate. So it's a bit of a shame that it only has a single bottom-firing speaker, because multimedia consumption would have been even more enjoyable, but at least it still has a headphone jack. When it comes to hardware and specifications, it's decent but not mind-blowing. The Snapdragon 720G performs well enough for the most part, and the battery is still able to last me a day of use even with the higher refresh rate. But it is nice to see that we are still getting a ton of RAM and storage. We now have a dedicated micro SD card slot along with dual SIM support, and the in-display fingerprint sensor works pretty well. The biggest upgrade for me here is probably the 65-watt charging, which is insanely fast. A full charge from an empty battery takes less than 40 minutes. I do have to use the proprietary charger, and I'm not sure whether this will affect the durability of the battery, but it is impressive for sure. In terms of software, Oppo's Color OS is pretty decent these days, with tons of customization options and useful features, so I don't really have any major complaints here. Camera is where things get a little more interesting. Shots in good lighting with the main camera are generally pretty decent looking, but because it lacks optical image stabilization, it seems like the Reno2 still performs better in low light. The ultra-wide-angle camera is sort of the same story, with the sensor being a bit smaller than the Reno2, and image processing is quite aggressive. Instead of a telephoto camera and a depth sensor like on the Reno2, the Reno4 Pro is using a 2-megapixel macro camera, which is essentially useless, and a monochrome sensor which enables some new video effects. They look pretty cool, but I probably won't be using them much. Front camera seems a little better, and the fixed focus lens is set at a more comfortable distance compared to the Reno2, which was a bit too near. But I find the image processing here a bit too aggressive as well, and Auto HDR doesn't always activate when it needs to. Overall, it's a usable camera for sure, but for a phone that is 2 generations newer, this is not what I was expecting. As you can probably tell from the things that I've mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of this device. I don't think it's a bad phone. It still does the basics well enough, and the screen and charging speeds are both excellent. But I just don't think it's worth the same asking price as the Reno2 at 899 Singapore dollars. I don't even feel like it's a straightforward upgrade over the Reno2, especially when it comes to camera hardware and build quality. Perhaps if it was called something else and the price was much lower, I might like it a bit more. But as someone who liked what they did with the first 2 Reno series, this just doesn't feel like a Reno anymore. Thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Thanks again, and see you guys on the next one.